Hey, welcome to the Good Fight Collective podcast. So glad you're with us for this one. My name is Jason. This is my great friend George. We lead a ministry called the Good Fight Collective. We get a chance to serve churches and leaders. And one of the things we get to do is offer you this is content to help you fight the good fight of faith. And we know that we're stronger together. And that's our goal in this content, is to help you fight the good fight. George, what are we talking about today?
Well, I think we're going to tee up a little bit and talk about sometimes there's tension
Uh-oh.
that happens. And
Okay.
what do we do with that tension? How do we manage that tension? Is there some tensions we can solve or some tensions we have to manage? And really, I think we're going to boil this down a little bit is kind of with our band of brothers or with people that we interact with more. So I think that's where we're going a little bit here today. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think for us, one of the things we've talked about is that when you actually do this thing, and we're really doing it, and like, hey, I'm going to be in community with people, I'm going to invite people into this journey with me. um, there's that reality that other people aren't like you,
Mm.
and we're a great example of that. We are wired exactly opposite of each other. And you got to figure out, how do I navigate that? How do I deal with that when I have people in my life that aren't like me? Meaning, they're not going to do things the way you do things, they're not going to say things the way you say things, they're not going to process things. There are truths in life, and there's this, and we're going to get to this. There's going to be this challenge of, at the end of the day, truth is truth, but how we navigate all that is very different for all of us. And when you get in community, it's exposed.
Right.
And sometimes it can cause you to like want to disengage because there's people who just aren't like you, and they don't think like you.
Mm.
And it's a tension to manage, but we think it's a healthy tension to manage.
Yeah, and an example of that in our men's group just the other night, we're again reading through the book of Acts, and we have several different versions of the Bible.
Yes.
And that's a tension
Yeah.
sometimes. And it was so funny. I'd had to miss a Monday night before, and one of the guys got a new Bible, and he grew up in a different faith. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And so his Bible, and so I got there, and the guys made a joke about it, and I didn't know what they were saying. They go, "Oh yeah, we're calling his the liberal Bible," and I was like, "What?" On that. So I mean, just the from the King James only. Hey, that's your bent. Go for it. Or the NIV, not the Revised NIV,
Okay.
or just all so sometimes just even in the group trying to read, and I'm a person who I just want to know what version you're reading from, right? 'Cause I just want to know that because I want to pull that up possibly on my phone and track along with you, because if you're reading words that aren't on my page, I can't track. So that's a tension for me
Yeah.
personally to manage with a little bit of, I got a little dyslexia going on there, and I've had to fight through, but I need to see what you're actually, if you're reading words that aren't on my page, I'm freaking out. So that's a tension, but just the whole thing
That
about
is funny,
translations.
yeah, because like I have historically every now and then found myself digging into the message,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that's always a point of, there's some that always brings people going, oh no, and it's just
Yeah.
anyway, or the King James guy or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's a fascinating thing, and I think that is a this we wrote out some very specific ones, but I do think is in life, not just in your group, but also in life, like we tend to be drawn to people who are like us.
Right.
And I think the body of Christ is made up of different things, and we all have different things we bring to the table, and learning to appreciate that, and learning to figure out in a healthy way, how do we navigate these tensions.
Yeah. There's going to be some guys in your group that come across and they're just always positive
Yeah.
and Mr. Sunshine. And, that's good. But sometimes you need to be around those people because they just bring you up, or sometimes they, can I say, piss you off, because it's like, man, I'm in a bad mood, and
You can.
okay, good. They're there. So, but there's the positive, and then there's the Debbie Downers. There's the negatives,
Yeah.
right? And the negative guy, it doesn't matter what you say. Well, that's going to lead to blah blah blah. So you got to manage that tension, and where do you fit in? In that piece. So that some of that positive and negatives, one tension I see. What do you have?
Yeah. Gosh, that's a good one. And I tend to be drawn towards people that are more on the positive.
Right.
And it was funny, I think now, as I think back, how when I've been around people who might be a little bit more on the negative, how I might like disengage.
Mhm.
I've learned to embrace that a little bit. This is an interesting one: internal processor versus external processor. Because I remember taking a personality test years ago, and it called me an internal processor. And I was like, what? I talk all the time. Like, I'm always talking. And I think it was fascinating for me to learn that I actually think more than I talk. which is scary. But like I'm an internal processor. I don't say something without thinking about it. And we have many friends
Yeah.
that are will say something and then
Yeah. Yeah, I learned I'm an external
yeah.
processor. Okay, I'm gonna sit there because I see things sometimes if I have anything, I can see 3 or 4 things that are gonna happen down the road, and I can call it out, and I'm gonna, "Okay, hey, if we do this, we can probably do that," and then all of a sudden, "Oh, we're gonna do this and that and whatever," and I had to learn to stop doing that so much, mainly from my wife.
Mm,
'Cause she go, "Well, you said yesterday this." I said, "Honey, I was just processing
yes.
what could possibly be." "Well, you changed on me, and how can I trust you if you ch" I was like, "It's not." So I've had to learn to
Mm.
simmer down, as you would say, some of my external processing because I'm just thinking out loud. I'm thinking of things that could come, things that could happen, just looking down the road a little bit.
Mm.
So, how do you think in a group dealing with the internal processors and external processors that would, possibly,
Gosh.
cause some conflict or be helpful or just recognizing that people are different?
Over the years, especially in teenagers, I've seen this play out in really fascinating ways. One, the external processors can really dominate the group sometimes,
Mm,
and the internal processors do not feel safe. Like, I can't, this guy's talking so
okay.
much, and they kind of get overwhelmed by it. So, trying to find that balance of sometimes asking the internal processor a question
Yes.
and giving them space. They might, they have an answer, but they might not be ready to verbalize it yet.
And I think sometimes how you react to what they say,
Yes.
because you can shut them back down if you, "Oh, real I'm not sure that's what we were looking for," or "I'm not sure that's right." If
Mm.
that's your first thing back to an internal processor when you finally get them to talk, they're gone. They're back, they've turtled up, and they're back in their
Mhm.
shell, and you're gonna have a hard time getting them to come back out again.
Correct.
So the external people sometimes have to temper where they are tempering your responses sometimes will help in that tension that
And
we're trying to manage.
and I think embracing silence, embracing it happens with you and I all the time. We'll be talking and you'll go, "Well, what do you think?" And I'm like, "I'm thinking."
Yeah, you're processing.
Like I have a thought. I'm not ready to say it yet
Yes.
because I don't trust what I'm about to say or whatever that might be. Like I need time and for me, sometimes I need more than that moment.
Mm, yes.
I need to go stew on it for a
Mhm.
while before I'm ready to
Yeah.
talk about it. And
And for an external go person like me, I'm like, "Okay, just say, hey, I'm thinking about it. Give me a minute.' Okay. Oh, okay. I'll give you all day.
yeah,
Hey, we can come back to this tomorrow." But sometimes I think you're gone silent. I think you've checked out on me sometimes.
yeah,
And that's not what you've done. I've had to learn that a
yeah,
little bit, but sometimes I go, "Okay, wait, are you processing now? Okay, okay, good. All right, I just need to know that,
for
so
sure.
I can back off a
I,
little."
I would say this to a leader: get comfortable with
Mm,
being uncomfortable in that context,
yeah.
but also look for ways for those internal processors to get them one on one,
Mm,
whether that's a cup of coffee or whatever that might be. They have something to offer. They actually have they observe everything. They have something to offer about the group that maybe you're not even aware of, but you've got to get them away and ask them questions.
yeah. Think
And
about one guy particular in our group, and we just almost have to call him by name because he's sitting there, but when he speaks,
yes.
it's gold. It's gold. All right, I'm gonna throw this one at you.
Okay.
The tension of givers
Oh,
versus takers. And we could go a lot of different directions here, but just people that are, some people you're around are givers and some people you're around are takers. How do you look at that?
well, we have been down the road with this one before in a lot of ways. In the context of group,
Yes.
in the context of brotherhood, I think we all have seasons in life and we don't write the script of our story. Like it's God's job. Our job is to follow and be
Mm,
stewards of that. For some reason, there are some people whose stories find them often in the taker place.
mm,
And if you don't know their heart or you don't know them, you could really start writing them off. If they always whatever. And are they trying? Are they doing whatever? And I think that's where having a relationship and trust and uh, really propels that because if not, you could even write them off if they're just a taker.
mm.
And maybe or look for opportunities for them to give based on whatever they have or what place they're in. Does that make any? I know there's a weird road here, and I'm trying to be sensitive to it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
This manifests itself in a lot of different areas, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think true needs for me, and this is just my I separate that out a little bit sometimes because we all have true needs,
yeah.
whether they're spiritually, financially, whatever they may be. We all have true needs, but to me, I look at this sometimes that, I'll start with the giver, I'll start with the positive. For the giver is the one that's going just always like, "How can I help?" Not even verbally saying it, just sometimes just doing it. Just, "Hey, when somebody needs to bring food, somebody I'll bring the food. I'll do this, I'll do that," to group. I'll take care of it, all right? The taker is sometimes a person that sits back and just lets everybody take care of everything, doesn't step up, doesn't volunteer. And even sometimes the taker is the one that's always dropping hints like, "Oh, I wish I had such and such. I wish I had this," or "I wish I could do that," or, "Hey, if you're going there," they're just always looking to what they can get more than what they can give and
Mm.
contribute. And everybody's got something to give and contribute. And again, I separate that from there are times when there are true needs. I mean, hey, we need to stop and pray for that brother. We need to take up a collection to help that brother make rent, whatever it is. That's a different scenario in my mind with givers and takers. And I see this in brotherhood. I see this in the church. Not going to go here, but I see it in the pulpit sometimes.
What?
I see it in the pulpit sometimes. That preacher's talking about, I've taken up golf and man, I love golf. And I don't belong to a country club, but I'd sure like to play some. And I was like, really? Did you go there? What does that have to do with Jesus and bringing that? Okay. And I just went there and here, but I was like, you made it, you made the message about yourself and your own wants. You're becoming a taker instead of a giver of
Mm.
the grace and the mercy that Jesus offers. So
It's I guess my question to rest that I've wrestled with in this is what do you if you see someone in a taking position, a taking season of life, do you address it? Do you not address it? Do you just let it ride? Do you disengage from them? Like what should be our reaction? Because in processing this, it would seem like the taker might be the negative place to be potentially. Not what you just said of, hey, I'm in a
right.
where I have felt needs, but my actions are more selfish than they are. Um,
How would you go about with the taker if you're like if you're sensing that in a group that there's someone that's maybe draining some of the
yeah,
energy or some of the things like that? I mean, and you realize it's not just a season of life, it's kind of something that's perpetual. I think sometimes there's something deeper possibly going on that you need to have some one-on-one with that brother and say, "Hey, what's leading to this? What's leading to what's
yeah.
going on here?" Or, how would you do
I
it?
have, and you know this because I was picking your brain on it. I had a group of dudes once where they were high school dudes, and there was a guy who became very much a taker and a point of tension for our group. And as I addressed him, trying to get the root, he didn't want to go there.
Mm,
Like he just did not want to address the root. He just wanted to talk about the superficial thing, and that's fine, and I'll deal with it. And I was trying to be like, "Hey, dude, I think there's," and he was like, "No, I'm like, no, there's, no, I'm, no, no, there's, no, I'm good, I'm fine." You're like, "No,
yeah.
actually, no, you're not."
Did you ever
And
get a breakthrough
no,
in any of that? Never really got a
no,
breakthrough.
no, and to this day, if the Lord brings him to mind, I pray for him.
Wow.
And but you can't control another person's heart. That's God's job, not
Right.
mine. And the tension it created in the group was real though,
Yeah. Wow.
because there were times where you could just felt like you were overpowering, and I think most people were aware, like, hey, there's something bigger here,
Mm,
but you're not willing to like because you're unwilling to actually
yeah.
talk about that. We're just going to deal with the consequences of that that are superficial right now.
And I'll say this for the giver. Sometimes there's some givers in your group that just give and give and give and give so much they don't even realize because that's just some of their nature. And you have to talk to them sometimes and go, "Hey, listen, are you good? Are you okay? Are your needs getting met? Are you getting what you need out of group?" So I look at even if you want to look at giving as the positive, well, sometimes somebody can give so much that they've depleted themselves and they're living hopefully out of their overflow and they're like, "Yeah, man, I've just been," they may come and go, "I've been in the word and I've been praying and God's just convicted me that I need to give more and do more." And you go, "Well, praise God." But sometimes they give and run because they're trying to hide from something that they don't wanna deal with as
Yeah.
well. They just give a lot, so
It
there's some give and take in
This is
that as
something we can
well.
unpack even later with that because it is someone who's wired that way. The tension to manage there is that I give life by giving, but it also
Mm,
takes away.
yeah.
And so, like, if you were to read the Road Back to You from Dr. Crone about the Enneagram, I'm a 2. So if you read about the helper, it
Yes.
says what gives you life takes it away from you.
Yes.
Like literally, what gives you purpose is the same thing that drains you. And so, as a giver, someone that wants to help people, but I also care and I carry, as we've talked about before. And so, there's a tension there to manage. And so, when you ask me if I'm okay, I'm always going to go, "Yeah, I'm fine." I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't want you to worry about me because I'm a giver. I don't want you to feel like I
Yeah.
need something from you.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's also that awareness of trying to find that balance of learning to go, "Yeah, I do need help."
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's and I will say that that's my wife. She's a 2. We just did something and it opened her eyes that I'm a 1. So she goes, "Oh, you can't help walking into somewhere and trying to make it better." So she's like, "Yeah, okay." And I'm going, "You as a 2, you can't help but try to help everybody and be everything for everybody." And so it helped us identify that and for her not to get mad of going, "Oh, you're not just being judgmental. That's just your nature." And me not going, "Oh, you're not paying attention to me, you're paying attention to everybody else."
mm.
But it also makes it where and we just recently got to do this, she comes and goes, "I need to get away for a couple days, take me somewhere." Man, we're gone. Because I know when she says, "I need to recharge,"
She's done.
she's done,
Yeah.
and it's my joy to be able to
Mm.
plan a trip or do something to help my Enneagram 2 wife go, "Okay, I need to step back for a few minutes," and
Let's unpack one more real quick.
okay.
That's the idea of attention to manage a patient versus moving person, and we are the perfect example of that because I am of the nature where I often will be like, "Well, I'm trusting God for that. I'm praying for it. I'm just kind of waiting, just waiting on the Lord." And that doesn't mean I have more faith or less faith than someone else. That's just the way God's kind of made my personality, where I tend to linger in the waiting.
Yeah, yeah, and mine is more of, well, he tells us to knock. He tells us to knock, so I'm just gonna knock. I mean, sometimes I'm kicking the door too, so
Yeah.
and I have to understand and rein that back, and I've got stories where a major life change took place in my life, and then 10 minutes later, I got a phone call, and a new chapter opened up, and then I've got stories that I'm still waiting, you know, 5, 6 years later, still praying about something
Mm.
and waiting. So those are tensions to man. Wait, is God forgotten? Is God not going to answer my prayer? Is God, what's going on there?
And
Back to
it
your whole
really
patient.
manifests itself. Sorry, it really manifests itself. I've learned not just in yourself, but when you're listening to others share about how they're dealing with things.
Mm,
So, like your brother's going, "Hey, this is going on, and I'm just going to trust God with it," and you're going,
yeah, yeah. There's so many more things you can do. Hey, have
"Yeah,
you tried this? Have you tried that? I mean, this is still biblical. It's right here. Set your mind on the things
it,
above, not on earthly
it's a
things. Okay, we're
fascinating
gonna set our
tension."
mind
Yeah,
there, but hey, we're supposed to work as though we have 100 years, but live as though he's coming back today. So I still got work to do. I still got to be busy. But you're right. Sometimes, and our friends have had a whole ministry before called "Be Still," and sometimes that's what we're called to do. And when God every now and then says, "Hey, George, just be still," it's like, oh, okay. Oh, I hate this, but I know that's what I need to do. And
yeah,
just being sensitive to listen to and actually following through. It is hard for a mover. And then I've challenged you sometimes. I was like, okay, Jason, I know that's what you want, but what have you done to move towards that?
yes,
And you're like, well, I'm praying and waiting on the Lord. I said, okay, if that's what God's told you, that's great. But let me tell you what he's telling me.
mm,
He's telling me you got about 10 things that you could be doing right now to move towards that goal.
yeah,
And let's get after some. Let's knock on that door
yeah,
doing these things. And if God shuts any of these down or stops them, that's fine. So it's a tension that we share with one another. And then there's going to be some of that tension within the group,
for sure.
that,
I think it's a healthy tension.
yeah,
I really do. I think God's made us those ways for a reason. And I think over time, when you know that people have your best interest at heart and they care about you,
yeah.
you hear it differently too.
Yeah, and if you and I were just alike, there would be no need for one of us.
There
So,
you go.
that's we look at that, and for guys out there that are married, same thing with your wife. If you are both the same, and the things that drive you crazy are the things that drove you crazy in a good way about her when you started dating
Yeah.
her and asked her to be your wife, now they're the things that are different from you, and you're like, "Oh, why can't you be more?" Well, no, those are the tensions to manage. Those are the things you loved about her,
Yeah.
and if you're both the same, there'll be no reason for one of you.
Mm.
So that's where I, look at that tension to manage sometimes too. We want to, whether it's in our marriage or in our men's groups, we want to help pull out those things that are the gifts that our brothers have or our spouse has. Same thing with our kids. I even go with our kids. Man, my two kids are day and night from each other. But my job as their father is to pull out the things and the blessings that God's given them and how the path that God wants them to go. And that is a huge tension to manage. And if you've ever done the colors test or whatever, we're a rainbow, at
In your
at at,
family.
at our
Yes, you are.
family. Everybody is a different color. And man, that is a tension to manage because I want everybody to think like me, a red, right? And my daughter just wants everybody to get along. And my son just wants to have fun. And my wife wants to think deeply about things. Wow. That's going on in a family. And we know that that goes on in men's groups as well. So,
As we kind of transition here, I do want to share one thought that to me, you've heard me say this a million times, but years ago I was studying something. Brennan Manning put it out there, and if you don't know who he is, Google him, go read about him. Crazy story. Brennan Manning, who became a famous author, pastor, had his skeletons in the closet and things he dealt with. But one of his sayings he said often when he get in front of people is that we're all beggars at the foot of the cross.
mm,
Some more aware of it than others. And he would kind of smile. But hey, we're all beggars at the foot of the cross. Some of us more aware of that than others. And the reason I bring that up, I think for me, when we're in those seasons where you're interacting with people who aren't like you, they're a beggar just like you are at the foot of the cross who desperately needs his
mm,
grace and his mercy the same way you do.
mm.
And maybe they deal with things different, maybe they're going through things different, but we're all beggars at the foot of the cross.
Man, that puts it in perspective majorly.
Mm.
Beggars at the foot of the cross. And what that means for me, if there's a tension to manage a little bit, it means at least we're in the fight for the Lord.
Yes.
We're in the good fight for the Lord,
Hello.
if you would, the good fight of faith. So if there's not tensions going on, if there's not tensions to manage, you might need to check and go, hey, am I in the good fight of faith at this
It's
time?
a great point.
Hey, as we wrap this up, have you got a few questions that we want to
Yeah.
share?
Yeah, just we've written down some questions, and the idea of this is if you're watching alone, for you to wrestle with. If you're in a group, maybe these are things you could talk about with each other as you think about tensions to manage in your life. First one is this: how do you respond when others don't act like you do? How do you respond when others don't act like you
You,
do?
you tell them to act more like and think like you is, oh, okay, sorry, I'm not supposed to interject
Did you listen to the podcast?
here.
Second, why do you think God has wired us all differently? Why do you think God has wired us all differently? Third, what are some tensions you need to be aware of now? What are some current tensions maybe in your community, in your group, in your relationships you need to be aware of? And lastly, how can tensions to manage be a healthy thing for you and your community?
Yeah, so as we're recording this podcast at this time, and if this is helpful for you at all, I hope you'll hit that like button, subscribe, share it with somebody, share it with your group. But I think about it's almost summer coming up soon, and we're going to see different flowers, different trees, all kind of different colors going on. And how sad it would be if they were all looked just alike.
Hmm.
How sad would it be? But God, in His infinite wisdom, gives us a multitude of colors,
Hmm.
a multitude of different trees. I love when the dogwoods bloom and the azaleas bloom, and there's different colors. It just so that's kind of like your group. It's beautiful because of the differences that are there. If we can pull those out as we fight the good fight of faith, looking to serve Jesus in everything that we do as we manage these tensions.
Hmm. Good stuff.
So, till the next time, fight on.